Good evening, intelligent beings. Tonight on the show where I drink beer in front of you and talk, it's another Midwestern specialty from a very small brewery in Minnesota called Badger Hill. Their Cherry Double Dunkel. And it's a pretty rare beer. I guess they made this once before a couple years ago. And it's got a thick wax seal, which I've started trying to get off of there. But this is not super aged. It's 2015. It was released in November. And it is a Dunkel Weizen, or in other words, a dark, strong German wheat beer using the same Weizen yeast that they use at Hefeweizens. Except this beer was secondary conditioned with what it says is 2 pounds of tart cherries per gallon. So after the main fermentation, they let it sit again and ferment longer with the cherries in there. And I don't believe it's not a sour beer. They don't add any of their own sour yeasts or souring yeast and bacteria. But the cherries can add their own kind of tartness to it. I've only ever had like pale ales from this brewery before, so this is a very different thing. I don't know quite what to expect. I've never had a beer quite like this either before, because doing the mixing fruit into a traditional German style is a somewhat rare thing to do, except with Berliner Weisses. That's popular in America, but there aren't even that many Weizenbocks made. When I started cutting this open, it already squirted a teeny bit outside of it. And I did ship this over here on a plane, so hopefully it's not going to explode on me. I'm not going to hurt myself on this knife. And it's 9% alcohol. And I believe they use Door County, Wisconsin cherries. Ooh, there's some good sounds. Seems like I've got it kind of opened. This is nice and dangerous. So unprepared today. But now, there we go. But there's still a thick amount of wax on there. Looks like it should be okay. Let's see what it looks like. Very hazy. A kind of muddy orangish pink a little bit. But plenty of carbonation and fluffy head there. It looks very interesting. And a lot of people might say, you know, this is not a pretty look. It looks a little bit better when you've got some light coming through it. Here. Let's see if this just gives you a better look at it. See, isn't that pretty? When I shine this flashlight through it. It smells Germany. Well, this beer was given to me by my brother Bjorn for Christmas. And he was pushing me to do a review. And the smell on this isn't super cherry. There's a little bit of cherry. But it smells really weedy, crackery. And there's some spicing, some clove spice, but not huge banana like you might expect from some Hefeweizens. It smells very pleasant and just like barley, wheat. Very beer-y and not like big and boozy and medicinal or anything like you might expect from a very yeasty, fruity, strong beer. It doesn't... I'm not getting any alcohol, any fusel alcohol, nail polish remover, anything like that. It smells a little bit like, you know, cranberry, Thanksgiving-y a little bit. I think they released this before Thanksgiving, kind of to go with that meal, and it probably would go well with any holiday meal or anything. But it's not too spiced or sweet smelling. It's got pretty high carbonation. Maybe a little bit of like berry cereal, like Fruity Pebbles, but not grapey or purple drink sort of smell. Here it goes. That's very nice. A lot more cherry, and a little bit of sweetness on the taste. But it finishes with a little bit of crisp, sort of banana, Hefeweizen, and it's not very hot, very, very mellow, and very pleasant. And now that I've got the flavor in my mouth and in my palate, I'm noticing more banana, definitely. But it's not like an explosion of banana runt candy or anything like that. The cherry's kind of temperate, and now it reminds me of some kind of fruit salad that has bananas and maybe some cherries and stuff in it. But it's very pleasant. The body's textured. The yeast definitely gives it something, but it's not a huge full body, just a little bit of sweetness, not syrupy. And the high carbonation doesn't make it too tingly or especially fluffy. I'm gonna put some more in here. But it's definitely well made, very well bottle conditioned. I assume they bottle condition it. It appears to be. I don't see how anyone couldn't like this beer. It's almost maybe like a sangria of beers or something. I guess they don't say they use cherry juice. They use, I think, whole cherries. At least they just say almost 2 pounds of tart cherries. And I think using the tart cherries was a good call, because this would have probably been a little bit too medicinal and sweet, and brought out some of the spicy but also kind of boozy, astringent phenols of the yeast. Mouth feels a little bit fluffy, but it's really got a perfect drying, yeasty bite. But when you first have it on your tongue, it seems like it's a little bit sweet, cherry, banana. But it doesn't stay sweet. It finishes how you might say, very clean and semi-dry. And I think they did a really good job with this one, especially considering that I've never heard of any other brewery doing a fruited Weizenbock like this. And it's not really sour or tart. I guess the cherries add a little bit of an acidity, but it's nothing like an intentionally soured beer at all. I doubt there was any live yeast or bacteria on these cherries that is doing anything funky to them. It would be interesting to see how this would age, and if it would get drier and more carbonated. And because the body isn't huge, it's not that sweet, and I don't smell much booze, and the yeast isn't slightly subdued for a Weizenbock. I can't tell it's 9%. It tastes like you mixed a little bit of, unfiltered 100% tart cherry juice with a little bit of half a Weizen. I guess in a way it's maybe like some kind of imperial German Radler, you could almost think. Except the Radlers tend to be about half juice, and this is not. It's not actually juice in this. It's a very cool beer, and the carbonation keeps it very lively. If this kind of looked like this, then it was a little bit flatter. It wouldn't be as appealing probably to look at and smell. This is very nice, and I like how the clove isn't too big. I think I have to give this an 8 out of 10. It's not mind-blowing combinations of flavors, but it's extremely pleasant to drink, and I really don't see how anyone could enjoy this beer a little bit. It's not too sweet or boozy. It's just really well put together and innovative. If it's not boldly innovative, it's a unique thing that a lot of American brewers aren't doing. A lot of American brewers are they're taking the cool German styles, or they're like making super hoppy lagers, or they're making experimental Berliner Weisses, but there aren't too many that are doing things with Weizenbocks like this. So, Badger Hill, Cherry Double Dunkel, 8 out of 10. Goodbye. Oh, my cat's causing problems. This is the worst review ever. Stop chewing on this, you dumb thing. Look at this. The cat likes to chew on this bag. It looks like there's a bajillion bullet holes in it. He's being bad. Wow, you're just causing problems today. Get out of here, fur. I'm gonna have to heavily edit this video.